Good morning. Today, what we're going to be talking about is adding and subtracting rational expressions. In the previous 2 days, we were talking about multiplying and dividing rational expressions. Now we will add and subtract the rational expressions. In order to add and subtract the rational expressions, the first thing we have to do is find the least common denominator. So, and we know how to do this, we've been doing this since elementary school. Between 3 and 4, I know that my least common denominator is 12. Okay, so what I have to do, I have to multiply this by 4 over 4. 4 over 4 is the same thing as 1. And if I multiply 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 3 is 12. Now, over here, I have a plus sign. I have to multiply this fraction by 3 over 3 because 3 times 3 is 9 and 4 times 3 is 12. At this point, I have the same denominator, 12, and I add the numerators. 4 plus 9 is 13. And so 1/3 plus 3/4 is equal to 13 over 12. That's just a review of how to do that, okay? So when we have monomial denominators, or find a common denominator down here, I'm looking at a 2x and a 2x. The denominators are the exact same, so I don't have to multiply these expressions by anything. What I'm going to do is I know that my answer is going to be in a 2x. That's my denominator, and I can add the numerators. 1 plus 1 is 2. Now, of course, I can see that I can divide these. They will cancel out, and so my end answer, I have a number, an integer 2 in the numerator, an integer 2 in the denominator. They will cancel, and I end up with 1 over x. And that would be my answer. Okay? So now I'm going to skip down to example 5. Okay? Example 5 down here. Whoops. I'm going to skip down to example 5. On example 5, I'm looking at my denominator. I have an integer 7. I have 21. Between those two, I can multiply this by 3 to get 21. So I'm going to have a 21 in the denominator. I have an x squared and an x. Between those two, x squared. I cannot multiply an x squared by something and get an x, but I can multiply this over here, okay, this side by an x and get an x squared. I have a y and a y squared, so my least common denominator will be a y squared. That is going to be what the denominator will be, all right? Now, I'm going to try to change colors and see if that works over here and show you something. What do I need to multiply this by to get 21? I first need to multiply it by a 3. Whatever you do to the denominator, you do to the numerator. X squared. I've already got an x squared. I don't have to do anything there. But to get y squared, I need to multiply this by a y. So I'm going to multiply the denominator and the numerator by 3y. So what that's going to do, 3 times 3 is 9y. 3y times 3 is 9y. Now here in the denominator, 3 times 7 is 21. I have an x squared, and y times y is y squared. Now my denominator is the same as the one I've put over here. I have a plus sign. Now let's see what I need to multiply this one by. I have a 21 and a 21. So I do not need to multiply it by any number. Okay, I have an x and an x squared. All right, I'm going to have to multiply it by an x to get an x squared, and whatever you do to the denominator, you got to do to the numerator. Y squared, I've already got a y squared. So the only thing I'm multiplying this last term by is x over x. 4 times x is 4x, and 21x y squared times x is 21x squared y squared. Now my denominators are the exact same, and I can add 9y plus 4x, and the answer there is 4x plus 9y. And at this point, that is my answer. I cannot cancel anything out because this term has a 4 and an x, okay? And this has a 9 and a y. I can't, they have to equal, everything would have to be the exact same to be able to cancel something out. So I cannot cancel anything out. So now at this point, that is my answer. Have a great day, and remember, I'm here if you need me.